Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Manny here, back with another Marvel Rivals update. From a stricter ban system that punishes game quitters, to leaked abilities of upcoming heroes like Emma Frost, Blade, and Ultron, there's a lot to cover. So strap in, because we're breaking down everything you need to know in today's video. Alright, let's talk about the latest move by NetEase Games. Marvel Rivals is cracking down on quitters, and they're not playing around. If you're someone who leaves matches early, get ready for some serious consequences. Before, the game would hit you with a 15-minute ban right after you abandoned a match. Now, the punishment only kicks in the next time you log in. At first glance, this might not seem like a big deal, but when you think about it, it actually makes the punishment much more effective. Here's why. In the old system, a lot of rage quitters or people who just didn't care would leave a match, close the game, and go do something else. By the time they came back, the 15-minute penalty was already gone, meaning there wasn't really a real consequence. But now, that timer starts the moment they boot the game back up. Imagine sitting down excited to play, only to be met with a 15-minute timeout. It's frustrating, and that's exactly the point. It forces players to think twice before ditching their team. Marvel Rivals is a team-based game, where every player on your squad plays a crucial role. Losing a teammate in the middle of a match is almost a guaranteed loss, and it completely ruins the experience for everyone still playing. If someone bails, their team is left scrambling, and most of the time, they just end up getting steamrolled. If you've ever played a competitive game like Overwatch, Valorant, or even League of Legends, you know how frustrating it is when someone on your team just dips. Even worse when it happens over and over again. It makes ranked games unbearable, and casual matches aren't much better. So it's good to see Marvel Rivals taking a hard stance early on. But of course, no system is perfect, and some players are already raising concerns. What happens if you're disconnected due to a game crash, a power outage, or bad internet? Well, under the current system, you'd still be hit with the same 15-minute ban as someone who rage quit on purpose. And that's where things get tricky. Many players are calling for a smarter detection system, one that can tell the difference between an intentional quit and an unfortunate disconnect. Because let's be honest, if the game crashes through no fault of your own, getting banned feels like a slap in the face. Some suggestions from the community include giving players a chance to reconnect within a set time before applying the ban, tracking patterns. If someone constantly disconnects when their team is losing, that's suspicious. But if it's a one-time thing, maybe they get a warning instead of an instant ban. Looking at the reason for the disconnection, if it's a known bug or server issue, the punishment should be waived. Overall, I think this is a solid update. Punishing players who intentionally abandon matches is absolutely necessary for the health of the game. It keeps things competitive and ensures that people take their matches seriously. However, NetEase needs to fine-tune this system. There's a difference between a quitter and an unlucky player with bad Wi-Fi, and right now, the system doesn't account for that. If they can figure out a way to distinguish the two, this will be one of the best anti-abandonment systems we've seen in a multiplayer game. Alright, now let's talk about the leaks that have been shaking up the Marvel Rivals community. We've got 3 potential new heroes on the horizon: Emma Frost, Blade, and Ultron. Now, while nothing is officially confirmed yet, these leaks give us a pretty solid idea of what we can expect. And let me tell you, this lineup is looking insane. Let's break down each hero, their abilities, and what they could bring to the game. If you're into powerful, telepathic mutants with a bit of an icy personality, Emma Frost is going to be right up your alley. According to the leaks, she's going to be a vanguard, meaning she'll likely play a frontline tank role. But here's where things get interesting. She has 2 forms. First is the human form, which focuses on psychic attacks and barriers, which could mean she'll be great for disrupting enemies and protecting teammates. Second is the diamond form, which turns her into an absolute tank with high HP and close-range melee abilities. This dual form mechanic makes Emma one of the most unique characters in the game. Imagine being able to switch between a powerful telepathic support role and a tanky brawler whenever the situation calls for it. That's crazy versatility. The leaks mention that the next hero would be the perfect choice for the meta, and honestly, that makes a lot of sense for Emma. Right now, Marvel Rivals has a lot of high-damage heroes, but not enough strong frontliners who can hold the line for their team. If Emma is as tanky as she sounds, she could shake things up in a big way. Now, balancing 2 different forms could be tricky. If one is way stronger than the other, players might just ignore the weaker form entirely. If her barriers are too strong, she could end up being really annoying to fight against. Still, overall, Emma seems like an amazing addition to the roster. Next up, we have Blade, the legendary Daywalker. He's been spotted in the game as an NPC, but based on the leaks, it looks like he'll finally become a playable hero. And honestly, it's about time. Blade is classified as a duelist and is armed with a katana and a hunting shotgun, giving him a mix of close and mid-range combat options. Here are all the leaked abilities of Blade in Marvel Rivals. His passive ability, Bloodline Liberation, lets him see through walls. This is huge for tracking enemies and setting up ambushes. His second ability is Dark Knight Attack, which can be used for engagement or escape, while his third ability, Fang Deflect, is a defensive tool for countering projectiles. And finally, his ultimate, New Moon, transforms him into a vampire, granting HP steal or healing reduction. Imagine popping this ability, slicing through enemies, and regenerating health with every attack. It sounds ridiculously fun. His wall hack ability could be really strong, depending on how it works. If he can constantly see enemy locations, that might be too much information. If his lifesteal mechanic is too powerful, he could be unfairly tanky for a duelist. Overall, Blade sounds like a blast to play, especially for players who love high-skill, high-reward heroes. Now let's move on to Ultron. Unlike most characters who are grounded, Ultron might be the first true flying support hero in Marvel Rivals. His kit is centered around commanding drones, healing teammates, and controlling the battlefield. Some of his standout abilities include Dynamic Flight, which dashes in a direction, then enters free flight mode. Next is Imperative Patch, which deploys a healing drone that follows an ally, constantly healing nearby teammates. Next is Imperative Firewall, which summons drones to grant bonus health to allies. And finally, his ultimate, Rage of Ultron, calls in multiple drones to fire encephalorrays, which can either damage enemies or heal allies. Ultron looks like he'll be a game changer in terms of team support. His drones can heal teammates without being directly in the fight, which is huge for strategic play. And let's talk about the flight mechanics. If he can freely fly around and rain down support abilities from above, he's going to be incredibly hard to hit. This could make him one of the most annoying heroes to deal with, unless he's balanced properly. If he can stay airborne for too long, he might be impossible to catch. If his healing drones are too strong, he could make fights feel unfairly one-sided. That being said, I love the idea of Ultron as a unique support hero who plays completely differently from anyone else in the game. All three of these heroes bring something new and exciting to Marvel Rivals. Emma Frost adds a versatile tank option, Blade is a fast and deadly duelist, and Ultron introduces flying support gameplay. Personally, I think Ultron has the biggest potential to shake up the game. The idea of a flying, drone-controlling support hero is wild, and I'm curious to see how NetEase balances it. But Emma Frost and Blade also have huge potential, especially if their abilities are as strong as the leaks suggest. But what about you guys? Which of these heroes are you most excited for? Do you think Ultron's drones will be overpowered? Will Blade be the new king of 1v1 fights? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more Marvel Rivals updates. See you in the next one.